Have you ever had a time when you had a decision that would change the course of your life? Have you ever had a time where your decision could make or break the situation you faced? Have you ever had a time when you had to choose sides and the answer just wasn't clear? Have you ever had a time when you delayed your decision because you wanted to avoid the question? Have you ever had a time when you had made a decision and it seemed irreversible? Have you ever had a time when you made a tough decision that turned out to be the right decision after all? Whether or not any of these situations fit you, someone hearing this message has had a time when something came up that caused them to pause and shake their head in wonderment and think, decisions, decisions. And that's why I've invited someone here today to testify about how decisions can shape our lives. I'd like to thank you, Pastor Jabulani, for the opportunity to speak to your people today. Back in my day, there were a lot of people claiming to have authority, whether they took it by force or smooth speech. We really didn't know what to believe. There were all types of groups to join, but I stuck with what I knew best. Fishing. Fishing in the morning, fishing in the evening, fishing all day long. And I thought I was relatively good at it too. It was the only life that I knew. But then, one day, my brother Andrew and I were fishing with two of our business partners, James and John, when some guy walked up and said, "Come ye after me, and I will make you become fishers of men." For some reason, his words resonated with me and my brother, and we dropped everything and followed him. Now, I can't explain it, but some people just have it. And when you recognize it, it's hard not to want to hear more from them. I found out later that his name was Jesus. Almost immediately, we supported his work and his mission and joined him in that work. He went to the synagogue and spoke and healed people. He became an instant sensation overnight. His authority was unparalleled. Everybody in town wanted to find out what was happening. We went from town to town. Jesus taught, and it felt good to be associated with him. And I knew he was important, but just not how important until much, much later. But I knew I had made the right decision. I had seen many others, but never anyone like him before. I even got a chance to wield some of his power and authority. As demons were cast out and people were healed and thousands of people were fed, I felt invincible, like I could take on the world. I was his right-hand man. He called on me a lot. He asked me to declare his identity, and everyone else guessed incorrectly, but I fired back the right answer. You are the Christ. And I feel pretty good about myself. I was so sure that I had it all together until the night we had our last meal together. Jesus had told us on other occasions that he was about to make a great sacrifice for us. But that night, everything seemed to happen so fast. Jesus had transposed the Passover elements to explain how he would redeem all of us by his shed blood and his broken body. And he told us that one of us would betray him. And after several inquiries of, "Is it I?" Jesus said that his betrayal was at hand and that all of us would be offended and turn away in the face of joy. Well, just like I told him back in chapter 8, not on my watch. I couldn't speak for everyone else, but even if I had to die for him, I would not deny or betray him. So I thought. So you can imagine my shock when he told me more than once that everyone would leave him How could Jesus say that to me? Peter, the rock, the solid one, the most reliable, the whole lot, the one who has been through thick and thin with him. But in Jesus' hour of need, I was so tired and sleepy that I decided just to rest my eyes a bit. And when the soldiers came with Judas, I was totally unprepared, and I reacted to save Jesus. But when Jesus would not let me help him like I knew how, I just left him. So in that instance, I regretted my decision, but I knew I had completely let him down. But I learned a few things from that experience that just might help you. First, I learned how important it is to be genuine about our relationship with Jesus. All that time I spent arguing with Jesus about how tough I was, I really thought that I would always be there for him. And in many other instances, I had come through for him. So why wouldn't this time be any different? There I was again, being spontaneous, stubborn, and impetuous. And I never knew that I was just talking loud and saying nothing. Most times, the loudest and most verbose people are the ones who crumble when trouble comes. If I had just spent less time talking and more time listening to Jesus, perhaps I would have understood how to handle the pressure better. I mean, Jesus never even broke a sweat under intense pressure from his followers and his enemies and his friends. If I had spent less time getting excited about having access to Jesus' power to heal and more focused on the healer, maybe I would not have been so insecure trying to be the man. If I had only spent less time seeking the fame that came from being associated with Jesus and more time associating with him, I would have known him better. If I had spent less time trying to prove that I was the best of the best and more time trying to be the best disciple, maybe I would have known myself better. Bottom line, if I had just been honest with myself and kept it real, I would have increased the likelihood of my success. And I would have been genuine about my relationship with Jesus when it counted. Second, I not only learned to be genuine about our relationship with Jesus, but I learned that we must be faithful in our relationship with Jesus. Out of all those times I witnessed Jesus performing great feats, there was always one key element that got him through the toughest situations. What's that? Oh, I'm glad you asked. It was prayer. Jesus always found time to pray. That's why he was always so poised. Prayer helped him to just be and not just try to do something all the time. Jesus told the other 9 disciples, "Sit here while I pray." But Jesus took my business partners, James and John, and I with him while he prayed. Later, he told us to watch and pray. But we didn't either. We slept. Jesus saw all 3 of us sleeping, but he looked at me and essentially said, "Now, Peter, out of everybody, Peter, really? I know that you're not sleeping. All I ask you to do is watch my back and pray for 1 hour while I pray." So after all the argument about how no one would get past me, there I was, knocked out in the garden, getting some good rib sleep, snoring loudly, mouth open, knocked out. I mean, what's the big deal? I was just catching a quick cat nap. But the big deal I found out is that while I was asleep,